Assalamu Alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. How is everyone? Hope that you all are well, enjoying your learning. So today we are solving one more scenario-based question. The paper we have already solved earlier. This is May-June 2025, paper 2-1's scenario-based question. Before we proceed to the actual question, let's talk about that. How will you be scoring this in this 15-mark question? Basically, your assessment objective 2, you need to be very careful about that. If you want to score 9 out of 9 in this part, what you need to do is you need to be focusing on a few things. Be very careful about it. If you're able to comprehend and remember, then definitely you will be able to score easily. Now, this is 7 to 9 marks. You can easily score if you have been aware of the programming techniques that are being used, like you know that your scenario based question is dealing with any sort of selection statement or iteration or counting or totaling, input or output, and even the maximum and the minimum. So if you are aware of and you have included everything in your SBQ, then definitely you will be able to score 7 to 9 marks. Next thing is you are using the data structures properly as they are required in the scenario-based question. And if you have used a few of the data structures or the variables or arrays, then definitely you are going to score maybe 1 to 3 marks. If you have used more than one data structure properly as required by the scenario, then you will be scoring 4 to 6 marks, and 7 to 9 marks are going to be used, are going to be scored by students who are using the right data structures, the right variables, the right, I can say, arrays, and definitely 7 to 9 marks are going to be yours, inshallah. Now, moving to assessment objective 3. What is in this? Apart from assessment objective 2, the second thing is your assessment objective 3. And this is going to be, it is of 5 to 6 marks if you have actually done what? Like 5 to 6 marks are going to be yours if your answer has been fully documented, if you have used suitable name identifiers with their names, like they are serving the purpose, like the program is following a logical order, the solution is completely accurate, it's meeting all the requirements. So definitely the examiner will be giving you 5 to 6 marks. But in case a child has not used any comments, the identifiers that he has used are not depicting their nature, the solution is illogical, the solution is inaccurate in many ways, and he has tried to attempt at least one of the requirements, then the students will be scoring 1 to 2 marks. In order to score 3 to 4 marks, what is he doing is the program is seen with some relevant comments. The majority of identifiers used are appropriately named. Solution contains parts that may be illogical. The solution contains parts that are inaccurate, and the solution meets most of the requirements. So 3 to 4 marks are going to be yours. Now, this was dealing with assessment objective 2 and assessment objective 3. This is the scenario that is given to you in May-June 2025, paper 2-1. Giving you time to read this quickly, and then we will discuss it together. I hope that you have read some part of the question, the scenario-based question. Very first thing is the 1D array competitor name contains the names of 25 competitors in a tournament that includes 5 events. So you can see the competitor name, as you can see, is here. It's a 1D array that is containing 25 names, that is going to hold the names of 25 competitors. Another 2D array competitor score contains the points scored by each competitor in the 5 events. Each competitor means it is containing 25 competitors and scores and their scores in the 5 events. The first dimension of the array contains index of the competitor from competitor name. So this is the meaning that the first dimension or the row is dealing with 25 rows, and each row is going to be linked with the competitor name as is mentioned in the competitor name array. Fine. The first dimension of this array contains the index of the competitor from the competitor name, and the second dimension contains their scores. The second dimension means the columns are containing the scores. Do not get confused. Second dimension means the columns and first dimension means the rows. Each competitor receives a score out of 100 for each event. These scores are manually entered into competitor score. So yes, this is your array competitor score, that is a 2D array, and the events scores are to be stored manually, to be entered manually for each competitor, for each of the 25 competitors. Medals are awarded to the competitor or the competitors who have the highest points scored in each of the 5 events, the highest total points scored for all the 5 events. The 1D array points store the total number of points scored for each competitor. Now this is another 1D array, as you can see, is by the name points, and this is holding the total of the total points for each competitor. Write a program that meets the following requirements. Now, what are the requirements? Takes as input valid scores between 0 and 100 for each competitor in each of the 5 events. Calculates the highest point scored for each event. Now remember, for each event, the highest score is supposed to be calculated, and definitely it will be displayed later. Outputs the names of the competitors who receive a medal for the highest point scored. Calculates the highest total points scored for the 5 events. Outputs the name of the competitors with the highest total points scored for the 5 events. One is individual event and second one is the total event. You must use pseudocode or program code and add comments to explain how your code works. You do not need to declare any array or variables. All inputs and outputs contain suitable messages. Be very clear. Suitable messages play a very significant role in your answer. Any questions? Now let's discuss about the requirements in detail. What are we supposed to do? We have to use the array names the way they are mentioned in the question. Like the first one is competitor name, similarly competitor score, then points. What is the first requirement? Inputs and validates the points for each event for each competitor. And for that, we need nested iteration or iteration, input and output. For requirement number 2, what is the requirement? Finds and outputs the name of the competitors with the highest score for each event, nested iteration, output, and selection. Totals the score for each competitor, finds and output the names with the highest score for all 5 events, and for that we need some sort of iteration, totaling, output, and selection. Now let's move to the first one. For making you comprehend, you can see that the same example arrays are mentioned here. The first one is your competitor name, which is containing the names of 25 can say participants or 25 people. And just assume that the first one is Ali and then Abdullah, and there are others also in 24th and 25th are Muhammad and Qasim. Now, competitor score, just assume there were different events, event 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have scored different points in each of the events. And the points table, the points array is also holding the total points for each individual competitor. Now let's see. This is the first requirement. Takes as input valid scores between 0 and 100 for each competitor in each of the 5 events. Calculates the highest point scored for each event. Now you can see this is something that we have been doing in the class a number of times. And besides this, we have solved such questions also earlier in different papers. So validating, or you can see the range check. So what is done here? Here you can see we have used an outer loop, and this is a 2D array. And for 2D array, what you need to have an outer loop, and we are assuming that what we have done is we have taken the outer loop as event index. As you can see, this is my outer loop by the name event index, and my inner loop is going to be dealing with the competitors. So this is my outer and inner combination. Fine. Now just be very clear about it. For event index equals to 1 to 5, which means 5 events, and we are initializing high score inside the nested loop, because after each the competitor's data is, you can say, we have found, then we have to reinitialize. That's why the highest score variable is initialized inside. And you can see the comment is here, loops through each competitor, and this is handled for comp index arrow 1 to 25, because there are 25 participants, 25 competitors. That's why this loop is working 25 times. And for that, you can see we have used repeat until to validate, and repeat output enter a score between 0 and 100 for competitor name, comp index, for event, event index. Assume I'm starting with the first, that is Ali. Okay. So it will display from this state, from this array competitor name, the first value, which is you can see event index is 1, comp index is also 1. It means first competitor and his first event. So we are taking the input, and you can see a message, as they said, it should be very clearly indicating what are the output messages should be very meaningful. So that is why enter a score between 0 and 100 for quotations closed, comma, and then we have used the array competitor name. Comp index means first location for event, event index. So if it is a for the first time, it will say enter a score between 0 and 100 for Ali for event 1. Input score until score greater than or equals to 0 and score less than or equal to 100, because that was written here that the value entered should be between 0 and 100 allowed values. Fine. 0 till 100 inclusive, between 0 and 100 inclusive. So this is what is the requirement, and we have handled it in this manner. Okay, I hope that it's very clear. After we have passed through this validation check, next thing it means that the score is entered accurately, and we are simply doing what? Competitor score is my array name. In this 1 comma 1, in this case, assuming that for Ali, the first value that was entered was 20. So this 20 value will be stored, checked and stored in the first location of the array as this value. Like you can see, it will be 1 comma 1, and this 1 comma 1 will be storing the value of 20, for example. After that, it will be immediately we will be working on points array also. Points comp index arrow, points comp index plus score. Right now, what is done? We have the value, like we have the array as empty. Fine. So we can initialize that also. Since that was not the requirement, that's why we didn't do it. We had kept our pseudocode very simple one. Although you can use that or logic also, that you are going to initialize the points array also. You can do it. Uh, by the way, we have done it exactly like, remember in the last task that we have done, we have initialized the array, so we know how to do it. That's wonderfully. So if you want, definitely you can include that also. And immediately points comp index arrow points comp index plus score. So your points array will also be updated immediately, and it will be storing the value also. And immediately, what are we doing? We are also calculating the highest scored for each event. And if score is greater than highest score, then high score equals to score. And once the first value is taken input for Ali, then second event, then third event. In this manner, like for all the for event index when the value is one, or event one, all the competitors' values will be entered, and whoever's score is the highest one, like taking assuming that these are my values. So definitely, which one is the highest score for event one? 40 exactly. So this 40, assuming, is the only highest value that will be stored in highest score once the loop gets over. And it will be output as a requirement according to the next requirement. So I hope that this is very clear. What we have done here is we have handled a nested loop, and in the nested loop we have just worked on event 1 till 5 is my outer loop. My inner loop is handling for the competitors from 1 to 25. We are simply taking the input, validating the input, and we are simply storing the validated input into the array values, and we are also updating the points array also. And we have also done the highest score being found, calculated, and stored in the highest score variable. I think there's no problem in comprehending this. Maybe move ahead. Any issues? Okay, now let's move to the next part. The next requirement actually. Now, any questions? None. Good. Now, moving to the next requirement. Here we can see outputs the name of the competitors who receive a medal for the highest points scored. This is simple, very simple, like which we have already done. We actually have used totaling. We have taken the input and we have done the validation. Now, the simple thing is we have to display the winners of the event, and for that you can see we are starting a loop for event index equals to 1 to 5, arrow 1 to 5, output winners of the event, comma event index for comp index equals to 1 to 25 for the 25 participants if competitor score, comp index, comma event index equals to highest score. Now we have stored the values, like assuming that we have stored the values for all the 5 events. So what are we simply doing? We are simply talking about the highest comp, highest the like highest achiever, or the one who has scored the highest points, and we are simply doing what? If competitor score 1 comma 1 equals to highest score, then output competitor name, comp index scored, competitor score, comp index, comma event index. So we are simply going to display the name of the competitor. Like in this example, what we talked about was 40, and 40 was scored by Muhammad in event number 1. So in this manner, it will be displaying, because in this case, it has checked with the value highest was 40. 20 is not 40. 13 is not 40. Others are not meeting the criteria also. So maybe 40 was the highest score. So it will be simply if competitor score means this array 1 comma like first you can say 24. It has started from 1 2 3 4. Hand has reached the location number 24, and 24 comma 1 equals to highest score. So highest score was holding 40, and 24 comma 1 is also holding 40. Then output competitor name means Muhammad, scored, competitor score, and comp index comma event index means 24 comma 1. So it will be simply displaying the name of Muhammad who has scored 40, who has scored 40. So that is going to simply display from the, like, it is going to work in an, again, a nested iteration. It will pick up the highest achiever, or the highest point achiever in this event 1, event 2, in this manner. All the 5 events high achievers are going to be found and displayed with the help of this simple nested loop. No difficulty in comprehending, because it's already storing the values and we can simply check it also. Any issues? You want to go through this? Okay, now no worries. You should not get confused because of this 2D array. Just be clear. In a 2D array, the first is your row and second one is your column. So we are simply picking up competitor score row comma column. So row comma column means 24th row and first column is 40. Similarly, out of this, you can see in this case, again 59 is again the highest score of Muhammad for the event, for the second event. But for third event, you can see it's 50. So then it can be Abdullah who has scored 50 marks, 50 points. And then in the fourth event, you can see Abdullah is again leading, and in the last event, event number 5, again Abdullah is leading. So in this manner, you can simply get the result displayed. Understood? For each of the 5 events. Now, should I move? Can I move now? Now, moving to the last one. Again, we can see what is required here is calculates the highest total points scored for the 5 events, outputs the name of the competitors with the highest total points scored for the 5 events. Now, this is something different. In the earlier requirement, again, it was the example of highest, but that was highest for the event. Now you can see the highest scorer, the highest one, the highest scorer is going to be displayed. And for that, the simple thing, again, highest score, the variable is initialized with a 0. Now loops through each competitor to find and output the highest score, the highest points. We are doing for comp index equals to 1 to 25 if the array points. Now we have to refer to the points array. Now the requirement is now moving on to the array that is by the name points. Simple, very simple. Now my requirement is to deal with the points array. If points comp index is greater than highest score, you can see highest score is 0. So points is points array is holding 170. So 170 is definitely greater than highest score, that is 0. Then highest score equals to points comp index. So highest score will be right now holding 170. In this manner, it will keep on checking all the 25 competitors, and once the loop is over, the points array is checked for the highest achiever or the highest scorer, and his name, or I can say his highest score, will be stored in this location. And then you can see the output, the competitors with the highest score for the event are, again, what are we doing? We are simply displaying, again, with the help of the points array. If points comp index equals to highest score, then output competitor name comp index. So just talking about this example, we checked 170 is greater than 0. First time the value of 170 was moved to highest score. Now 205 is greater than 170. Condition is true. So now the next value was 205. In this manner, it kept on checking all the values until it reached the next one, and that was 231. So 231 was greater than 205. So it had definitely resulted, assuming that that was again the highest score, it resulted in now holding 231 in the high score variable. And then after that 199 was not greater than 231. So once this loop was over, it was holding 231 in the high score. And we are simply supposed to display, you can see, calculate the highest total points for the 5 events means highest score, output the names of the competitors with the highest score, with the highest total points. So for that, for comp equals to 1 to 25, if points comp index equals to highest score, then output competitor name and comp index. So if assume there are more than one competitors with the highest score, so their names will be displayed one after the other, and the whole thing will be over. Very simple. This pseudocode is very simple. What we have done is we have made it like simple, very simple, isn't it? A 2D array dealing with the storage of the values and taking the input, validating the input, finding out the highest, and displaying the highest competitor. Now, what are we doing in the end? We are simply doing what? Any issues with in comprehending this? Okay. Now moving to the next slide. What is done here? The whole program The whole pseudocode is now done for you. So you can go through this. What is done here? We are starting a loop, which is the outer loop. We are initializing high score with a 0. We are looping. The inner loop is starting with 1 to 20, going from 1 to 25. It's taking the input and validating the input. After the input is validated, it's storing the score for each event in the competitor score array. It is storing in the points array also, the same as we have done earlier, calculating the highest score and next comp index. And then you can see we are simply outputting the winners of the event. So there, just for the purpose of simplicity, what I had done was broken into different parts so you can comprehend this. And this is the full complete pseudocode for you. So if you have understood the parts, if you have understood how to work on them, then you can simply write the whole program also without any problem. So once we are done with the higher score, we are simply outputting with the winners of the event immediately. For comp index equals to 1 to 25, now we are simply doing what? Immediately we are matching it with the highest score and outputting the name of the competitor and his score also from the from the two arrays. And once the if is over, the next comp index, it will continue to iterate from 1 to 25 times, and it will keep on checking the score that is stored in the array with the highest score. If that is the case, then we'll simply display the names of all the competitors who have scored this highest score, and in this manner, the thing is going to be over. So high score will be 1, but that high score can be scored by multiple competitors. So in this manner, simply after that high score is computed, and we are simply starting another loop in the same event index loop, and the things will be done. And once we are done with the three tasks, the three requirements, then simply looping through each competitor to find and output the highest points. The same thing, just the use of a simple, because that is the dealing of the points array. That's why simply the use of one loop. We don't need a nested loop in this case. Be very clear when to use nested and when not to use nested. I hope that we are very clear about it. Whenever it's a 2D array, means it's a row and column. So we definitely have to handle it with a nested loop. But here we are simply looping through the points array to find out the highest total points. And for that, we don't need a nested loop. We are simply needing a simple loop from 1 to 25, and we are simply checking each with the highest score. And the same logic is being used here, the same high achiever or highest point score that we have learned earlier. We are finishing our next, and once the loop is over, outputting the competitors with the highest score in the 5 events. The names are going to be displayed, and we are done with all the requirements of this scenario-based question. Isn't it easier? Exactly. I hope that there's no confusion. Still, if there's any, please do not hesitate to write in the comment section, so I'll be able to answer your query. Jazakallah khairan kasira for being a part of the learning journey. Hope that you have liked the video. Hope that you have liked this explanations. Share with your friends and family so they all are going to benefit from it. Share with your classmates also, so they all are going to benefit from this learning. Allah Hafiz. May Allah bless you. May Allah take very good care of you. And do not forget to click on the bell icon to get the latest updates. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Ali. Allah Hafiz.